You built a time machine out of a car.
Out of a car.
DeLorean.
Okay.
Good day to you. It's Galaxy Productions and
Chaotic Spirit.
yeah, we the film fellas today, baby.
We are today.
Yeah, we are today.
We are today.
Today we are todaying the today.
Yeah, we're taking it.
Or maybe in this case it was tomorrow. We have to
almost 30 more minutes.
Or maybe it was yesterday.
Yeah. I can't believe it. We have to. We got to go back to the future now.
Great Scott!
Oh my gosh!
This is heavy, man. So we just watched all three.
Movies.
Well, yeah, we watched 4 movies today. We went to go see How to Train Your Dragon, and then we watched all 3 Back to the Future movies.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
It was something.
Well, I mean, there's a reason we watched it.
Okay.
Because Back to the Future is turning 40 this year.
Yeah, geez, that's crazy.
Yeah. And honestly, it's probably the most solid trilogy out there.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Mostly because it's probably one of the only franchises that stayed a trilogy.
Right.
But yeah. So what do you think? 40 years later, because you were there.
Yeah, man, it held up.
Yeah.
It held up all those years. I can see the hype. I can see why it's Steve's favorite movie, oldie movie, in Stranger Things.
Yep.
Even though it barely came out.
Yeah. Barely came out.
Right. No, it's really good though. It was a lot of fun rewatching the trilogies. I always have a lot of questions, but that's again, I always have a lot of questions towards films. I always ask, how does this happen? What does this do? So,
Yeah.
I can't exactly. That's just me being someone who
Inquisitive.
Inquisitive, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking how does Clara catch up to the train? I'm like, oh yeah, she catches up and then the scene came up. I'm like, oh yeah, she catches up before they even hit what? She caught up at 25 miles per hour.
Yeah.
He was calling out their speed.
Yeah.
So it was stuff like that.
Also, spoilers for a 40-year-old movie and the subsequent movies as well.
Oh right.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. And if you haven't seen Back to the Future, then what the hell are you doing with your life?
Go watch it.
Yeah, all of them.
Go have fun.
Back to back.
I know. It's a fun experience.
Yeah.
They did great with the world building.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. 10 out of 10.
But anyway, you were saying.
No, it's just that I have plenty of questions with films, and this all these films do a really good job of wrapping it up and everything.
Yeah.
It really ends with a little pretty bow.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, you gotta really respect a well thought out trilogy.
Right.
Because it's a lot of work to make one movie, but to make 3 movies.
Right.
That encapsulate the entire story.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I know one thing we pointed out actually was hold on. So we pointed out the foreshadowing of the Marty's hand throughout all 3 films. I barely just noticed that. And I'm like, oh my god, you're so right.
Yeah.
The first film, his hand
disappears.
The second, I forget he hit something.
He was trying to reach the almanac, and then Strickland was
sitting in the chair, and he got his hand squashed.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the third film, it's
you're going to go into this Rolls Royce,
right? But it doesn't happen because and most of it I think is
Actually, no. There was another very blink and you'll miss it moment. It's after he punches Biff and he massages his knuckles.
Huh.
Yeah.
Was that in the first or second film?
It's in the third one. It's after he completely punches Buford Tannen.
Right. Okay.
He massages his knuckles quietly.
I think what's cool about that actually is that it's a lot less prominent. So it also kind of shows off the he changed his fate.
Yeah.
He's not gonna let anyone call him a chicken anymore. That's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Going back to why Back to the Future exists in the first place, Robert Zemeckis was going through some old
yearbooks, you said?
Yearbooks. Yeah, he found his dad's high school yearbook and saw that he was like class president and all this jazz, and he asked himself, would I be friends with my dad if we went to the same high school? And I mean, probably not, but maybe. He made a movie about it,
right?
And they seemed to be pretty close.
Yeah,
a little too close.
That's true. No, but it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's interesting.
And like, you gotta appreciate sticking to this idea in how, like, you're super inspired by the past that you end up creating history.
Right. It's crazy.
Think about how you've got Star Wars that, like, redefined sci-fi. You've got Indiana Jones that redefined adventure. You've got Back to the Future that redefined time travel movies.
You have Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park, which redefined basically, I think, the animation industry.
Yeah, you got Superman that redefined superhero genre.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Or Jaws. That turned 50 this year. We should probably do a podcast on Jaws.
We should.
Yeah, we'll talk about Jaws.
There's plenty of films.
The problem with Jaws is that, like,
it's not a well-rounded trilogy. This is just
because first of all, there's four.
There's four. God, I forgot.
No. What's funny is that the fourth Jaws movie is called Jaws: The Revenge, and you know what year it came out?
What?
1987.
Oh my god.
So literally every time the shark somebody gets got, was that the bite of 87?
Oh my god, that is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we only have to talk about the first Jaws because, like,
the other two are just forgettable.
Well, yeah, they're bad.
They're just what's corny too is that the third Jaws is literally called Jaws 3D.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Well, actually, I was talking to my father about this because he's, like, for the past week, he's like, we should watch the Jaws movies, and I go, yeah, okay. Actually, I'm busy.
Yeah.
But he told me that before it was Jaws 3D, it was actually supposed to be Jaws 3 Human Zero.
Okay, that's a funny title.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They should have gone. I
want to say it's cool, but listen, 3D. Yeah, they should have just gone with Jaws 3 Human Zero.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to the future.
Yeah.
Part 1.
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
But 1 for now, I guess.
But 1 for now. So you asked a question.
I did.
Because of your inquisitive nature.
Yeah, dude, what question was it though?
How the hell do Doc and Marty
meet? I think actually you asked that. You went. I think you went like, I wonder how these people you went. It's not like. You went like it's not. It would have been nice to know how they met and like how they got so close together, right? And then I asked the question, how did they meet? Because I'm just like I stated, and I will state this again. I'm not a big fan of movies or shows that just immediately like kick things off like in relationships that acting like you know it like. But I think Back to the Future is one of the only movies where it works.
Yeah.
Like imagine if we just got the Peter Parker with like Uncle Ben and Aunt May, but without all the building.
Yeah.
To it. It's just like, oh, they know each other.
Yeah. Oh, they know each other. That's his neighbor, I guess.
Right. Like, yeah. Or like, I don't know. Like, I guess to some degree you could argue that you kind of have to do it or else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, with stuff like Back to the Future, like, nobody really cares because I mean, I guess people care, but it doesn't affect the overall story in any way. In case you're wondering, according to like this obscure blog that's canon, I guess.
Okay.
Marty was curious about Doc's inventions and snuck into his lab.
He snuck into
And then Doc was amused by Marty's inquisitive nature, and then was like, "Hey kid, here's a part-time job," and then
just give him a part-time job, okay?
And that's how Marty made a friend that is like 40 years older than him.
Right? Yeah, 40 years older than him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
That's interesting. If I had to guess, it's probably from the show because there's a show. There's an animated show.
Yeah.
So more than likely, they probably showed that off there.
There's also a game.
Yeah, there's a game. There's a game in the show. That's all I know.
Yeah.
There might be other content.
And a musical.
That's right.
Oh my god. I guess we'll talk about all that later.
Right.
Well, no, actually talk about the show a little bit.
Right. Well, I don't know the show. I know it exists. It's animated. It might have come out in the late 90s. I could be incorrect on that. I'm not sure how much they changed or where it takes place. I think if I remember correctly, I think it's after like part 3 because I think I saw some clips where it was Doc and with his kids.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I just know that Marty I think has his hoverboard in it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So I don't know, it might be tricky. I'll have to check up on that. I don't even know where to watch it. And I know with the musical, you mentioned that Doc dies of radiation poisoning instead of.
Doc is poisoned by radiation. Hence the radiation poisoning.
Just what happens? How does Marty cure him?
Okay, so I don't really remember. I think it was like it was really stupid. Like, make sure you're wearing the proper gear, Doc. Make sure that your suit is contained in your suit or something. It's really silly.
Also, how does that even work? Like, radiation poisoning that takes a while, man.
Well, yeah. Well,
the people who died from the Devil's Core, they died in, I think over a week or something.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, then again, Doc was messing around with this DeLorean for forever, right?
Okay, that's true.
It makes sense.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's also weird because Iny was officially the first person to ever ride the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the plutonium seemed to be in its case and everything, and
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird.
Don't get me wrong. Back to the Future the musical was really great.
Right.
It was really good. It was better in New York than it was when it came to the Pantages.
Oh, of course it was.
And that was because they had a special rig for the car.
Uh-huh.
So actually, at the very end, roads that were going we don't need roads.
Yeah.
The car actually levitates and then goes out into the audience and then flips.
Yeah. And then does it go back towards the screen and then just play?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It was
sick.
That was really cool. And then when it came here, it just went wee.
It just went up in the air.
Just went up in the air, and then that was it.
Right. But, no, because I know your mom talked about this. Broadway is Broadway.
Broadway is Broadway.
That's where it started in New York, so of course it's gonna be way better there.
Well, it started in London, I think.
You know what? Now that makes sense.
Yeah, he went to London that came here.
You know what? My bad, guys. I didn't mean to spread misinformation. But yeah, I mean, I think. I guess for some reason Broadway just found a big name in New York, and then it stayed in New York mostly.
Yeah. But it's really good. They great cast, but going back to the things that they had to tweak for modern day audiences is it's a little disappointing because the original is very embedded.
Right.
There are also some practical stuff that they do, like instead of having Marty be locked away in a car trunk, they lock him away in a dumpster.
Which I mean, I guess makes sense, but
yeah, I mean, no, it makes sense within the context of the story. It's just they changed the thing, which is kind of fitting because we just saw How to Train Your Dragon, which was a great translation.
That was,
yeah.
No, they did a good job doing that. But I think it just depends on how much people the new directors respect the original. Yeah, maybe not even just them either, just the new companies that are doing them. Because I'm pretty sure the new director for Lilo and Stitch really respected the original, but Disney probably just went, oh, dude, change this and change that, and then just shit went down doing that. Yeah,
and that's why there's a lot of respect for Bob Zemeckis for being like, no, you can't make more Back to the Future while I'm alive.
Right.
Because a lot of people will be like, yeah, I'll take that money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure.
That's why Nolan. Well, I guess it was more Christian Bale who was like, I don't want to do any more Batman.
Which is fair. I need to rewatch that trilogy again.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Really, really solid. A point where he wasn't as respectable as that decision. There was a little bit of a dispute with him and Crispin Glover, and Bob Gale.
Right.
Because Crispin Glover plays.
Is it George?
George McFly.
George McFly. Okay.
And he was supposed to come back for the sequels.
Yeah.
But according to somebody, they were like, Crispin Glover's agents were asking for $1 million,
right,
to reprise the role, and then they didn't. The filmmakers didn't agree to that because that's kind of crazy.
Right. No, I agree. That is kind of crazy.
Well, hold on. Actually, quick Google search: $760,000.
And that was for the first film.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, $1 million is crazy. And then, even if the IP got that high.
Well, hold on. How much was Michael J. Fox paid for Back to the Future? Whoa, what? $250,000 for the first Back to the Future.
What the? Well, I mean, he was a pretty well-known actor back then, even back then.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was doing Family Ties.
Right. Also, I mean, okay, not to mention
stuff.
that might be how much he was paid back then if you adjusted for inflation.
Well, no, adjusted for inflation, that was like $700,000.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably around the same for Crispin.
Yeah.
If
so
it's adjusted.
If it's adjusted for inflation, that's it depends.
Right. And okay, like listen, the only reason I'd say $1 million is crazy for Crispin Glover is because okay, listen, if he got paid $750K for the first film, he was in that a lot. He was in that a lot. In the second and third film, it would have just been small cameos. Like Lorraine got maybe after Biff gave himself the almanac, she got, I'd say, maybe 10, 15 minutes of screen time.
Hold on a second. Crispin Glover might actually be the highest paid actor in this movie.
That's crazy.
Because Christopher Lloyd was paid $600,000.
That's insane.
Granted, this is right at the current time, this is a surface level Google search.
Right. That's true. That's
Leah Thompson paid for Back to the Future.
Less, probably $400K or less.
Not publicly available.
You know what? That sounds about right.
Probably.
I'm sure they robbed her.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna Google Crispin Glover again just to make sure.
Right.
That I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's that. Listen. Well, I do think $760K.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of crazy. From what I can
paid.
Hold on, but let's just be fair.
Triple check.
How much was
Michael J. Fox paid?
Thomas Wilson.
Who's that?
Biff paid for Back to the Future.
I'm not good with actor names.
Not publicly available.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, from what we can tell, that's a big chunk of change. But
yeah. But it is also unfair to use his image like that.
That's what I'm gonna say. Complete side tangent. So apparently, Crispin Glover has disputed this. He's like, that's not true. Actually, the reason I didn't come back is because I disagreed with how they were handling the character. And how I guess he was given fuck all to do in the next one.
Right.
Which is fair. But what was really wrong was to use his likeness, his scenes from the first movie and put it in to the second movie and not pay him for that at all.
Right. I think it's called royalty, right?
Yeah.
Royalty. They should have at least paid him that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. I will say, he was asking for a solid chunk of change, more than he originally got for the first movie, for being in there for a solid, basically the whole film.
Yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, in this one, he probably, if they stuck with this script, he would have been in the second film for 3 minutes less.
Yeah.
He only had one speaking line.
Yeah.
And that was when they came in the house, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. Everything else was re-recorded or pulled from.
Right. That's true. Yeah. I forgot about that. Okay.
And don't get me wrong. George McFly is one of the best parts of the first movie.
Yeah. No.
Honestly, Back to the Future doesn't work without George McFly.
No, 100%.
And Crispin Glover delivers not only a great performance as young George McFly, but as old George McFly.
Oh yeah, I will.
Two different versions of him.
Exactly. I'll say this after you're done. But keep going.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much done. I'm just saying he was good, and honestly, $1 million in Hollywood,
that's chump change.
Yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, it was still wrong to do that.
Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, no, going on what you said on old George McFly and the young one, one thing I think I still stand by to this day, I was telling Grayson here that the prosthetic makeup, or just the makeup in general, for the older versions of their characters is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is one of the only films, I think by far, that has convinced me that it is two separate actors playing their older roles.
Yeah.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that looks like they're actually older and it might be a different person.
Yeah.
Every time I go to a different movie, it feels like I'm watching the same person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's this feels like a different performance.
Absolutely.
It's great. It's phenomenal. So like, yeah, props to them. The amount of stuff the amount of effort they put into that is insane.
Yeah. No, honestly, like everybody was on their highest, on their top notch game.
Right.
And like especially Michael J. Fox, who was recording episodes for Family Ties.
Right.
At the same time as doing Back to the Future. Like it was like clockwork. He would go from Family Ties set.
Yeah, good God.
To the Back to the Future set.
And run them back and forth.
And then go back. It was really, really bad.
Yeah, Jesus, that poor man was being overworked.
Yeah. And that was sort of a worth it. That was definitely a challenge that was worth overcoming because they had Eric Stoltz.
Yeah.
Who was apparently he was a hardcore method actor. He would only be he was adamant about only being called Marty. There was a scene where he and Biff they're drinking out when they're in the cafeteria. Yeah, he's about to he actually pushes Thomas and it hurts him. He goes, "Hey, Marty,
oh my God,
you're filming a movie here. Take it easy."
Right.
And then he's like, "No."
He just
sucker punched. Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
Like he was so difficult to work with, and he was taking the tone in a completely different direction.
Was he just making a complete jackass or something?
Well, he believed that Marty was a tragic character that was stuck in time.
No. It's so ridiculous. He's so tragic. That's like the opposite of what's his name again? Oh my God, what's the old actor for Obi-Wan?
Alec Guinness.
That's like the opposite of Alec Guinness, just completely thinking it's a fucking goofball show. You know?
Yes.
It's like the opposite. Meanwhile, with him, he's like, it's a tragic and no, he's just a regular teenage kid, man.
Yeah.
So like, sure, he has sad moments, like, oh, he's kind of living in the chump change with his family.
Yeah.
Because his whole family got it pretty rough because they can't change. But it's not that deep.
Yeah.
You managed to push through it.
Yeah. No, and honestly, it was worth every cent to recast Eric Stoltz because they wanted Michael J. Fox anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He was tied down by those family ties.
You know how family is.
Family
first.
Dominic Toretto knows.
He knows family best.
He knows family best.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it was. It's hard to imagine Back to the Future without the cast that we had. Without Michael J. Fox, without Christopher Lloyd. They really put in their all.
They did.
And if you can also look, because you can look at Family Ties and look at Back to the Future for Michael J. Fox, you can also look at Back to the Future and Clue to see different performances given by Christopher Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Clue, right?
Yeah, we watched Clue.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I forgot he was in Clue.
And he plays a very different type of character.
Yeah.
But it's so fun.
He's detective, right?
No, he's Professor Plum.
Professor Plum.
Yeah. He's the one with the gun.
Yeah, it's been so long since.
Never mind the key, unlock the door.
But he's like very. I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched it, but it was really funny. I enjoyed it. And then like the true endings and all the changes, that was really fun.
Yeah, maybe we should do a podcast on Clue. That also turns 40 this year.
Different endings to the podcast.
Yeah, different endings. I love this movie. It was alright. I hated it.
We have to just link all the endings in the description.
That'd
be funny.
That's a good idea.
That'd be funny. I can't lie to you. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah. Yes. The going back to the through line of Back to the Future and how everything is set up like a domino.
Yeah.
And it all makes sense.
Yeah.
And how you've got the foreshadowing that goes into the next couple of movies.
I'm kind of curious if it caught that now.
Yeah.
I might have.
That's it.
I think that was it. You can see the lines.
Sorry about your bed, bro.
You shat yourself on the mic.
Yep. Well, hey, if you did it in the last one, I can do it in this one.
Yeah, hey, I almost choked on the mic first time we did it.
See, yeah, we just can't do...
We just can't do it.
We're not cut out for this podcast business.
Yeah, whatever, it is what it is. Even in the first film, like, just where it's just said in that, like, you know, when, I was going to call him George, oh my God, when Emmett Brown was like, you know, old man Peabody had this weird dream about breeding pine trees, and he just looks off into the distance. He's like, what a weirdos. Like, it looks like he's saying that mentally, right?
Yeah.
And then you have, like, after Marty runs over one of the two pine trees, and he comes back to the future.
Yeah.
Title drop, you know? And it's like, then the mall is renamed to, like, Lone Pine Tree Mall or something.
Yeah, Lone Pine Mall.
Lone Pine Mall. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I say Lone Pine Tree. That doesn't fit. Lone Pine Mall, right? So that's like a really cool.
Yeah, they pay attention to the little things, and how George McFly is a completely different person.
Right.
After like punching Biff.
Right. Like, you know, the whole family's succeeding.
Yep.
Like, he taught them confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like this, like the one smaller reference to when he was writing his novel in the cafeteria. You have that being like, oh, I write sci-fi novels, and then being like, oh, your book's here, right?
Yeah.
And then he has his book, and then he's like, you see, like, just like I said, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You stole that from Emmett Brown, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, it's got a really cool like domino effect. It's great. I'm sure there's plenty of other things I'm missing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Lion Estates becomes like a better neighborhood after as well. I don't remember it's kind of ghetto in the first place in 1985 before they time traveled.
Well, it's not exactly ghetto, but,
It's not like-
their house definitely looks nicer.
Right. Yeah. No, the interior looks nice.
The interior,
for sure.
yeah.
But they have the same like exterior.
Yeah.
You know, Marty gets his truck.
Yeah. I also heard something like this was I saw this in like a YouTube short, and I don't know. I'll probably have to go back and watch it at some point. But to solidify George's confidence, they make a reference to the beer that he drinks at the very beginning.
Beer light, right?
Yeah, light beer.
Light beer, yeah.
And then he drinks a different brand or a different kind of beer, which is supposed to be the champagne of beers.
Right.
To indicate more confidence even in the beer he drinks.
Right.
I don't know. It's obscure and doesn't really matter. But
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool little niche little like Easter egg. No, that's sick though. But yeah, no. Back to the Future, the first part at least. I mean, not at least. It's all in the great.
Yeah.
You know, really good, solid through line of dominoes. And then it sets up the second film nicely.
Yeah, and that's that second film. Let's talk about that because
Yeah.
that's a controversial Back to the Future movie because a lot of people think that it's a carbon copy of the first one.
No.
No, you don't.
I think it's, you know, to some degree, yeah, because you know you got a lot. Like I will say a lot of the bits I do think are carbon copy.
Yeah,
I've told you that multiple times.
Sure.
But I think
that goes for the whole series.
Right, yeah, the whole series. Like one, like, you know, you have him punching Biff. Like, hey, what the hell's that, right? And the whole scene, it's always in a cafe or something.
Yep.
But it works for Back to the Future, I think.
Or him waking up in his mom's.
Right, him waking up with like his mother, or, you know, like maternal figure in the room. Right, I think that like it fits, you know, time loop kind of shenanigans. I think it works perfectly.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think to some degree, a lot of the bits and other pieces are carbon copy, but in a different. It's copy and paste in different styles.
Yeah.
You know, like you take the same text and you just copy and paste it in different fonts.
Different fonts, yeah.
But it works. Either way, the major plots are different.
Yeah, like I 100% agree. Back to the Future Part 2 is its own thing.
Right.
It has a lot of the elements, and I feel like it's very intentional. It's not like, oh, we don't know what to do.
No.
Hey, it's funny, guys.
They definitely knew what to do.
Yeah.
I think that Back to the Future 2 may actually be the most like domino heavy in the sense that it's set like it starts knocking everything over.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of things that like, you know, that like set up 3 even more besides just the end, like that little end credit scene where they show everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have like Biff in the bathtub being like, oh, he used a bulletproof vest.
Absolutely.
Like absolutely like that, you know, that being
so cool foreshadowing.
I know they have like so much.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a lot more than I remember.
In case you guys didn't know, Back to the Future Part 2 and 3 were filmed simultaneously. So they were able to I think have more control over the little fun Easter eggs.
Right. But I think that fit great.
Yeah.
Well, I think while we do agree, we have agreed that. Oh.
That's for you, Zaina.
Well, we have agreed that what's it called again? The second is probably the weakest film of the trilogy. It's still good. Yeah. It's still good. We rank like 1, 3, and 2.
Yeah. The 1, 3, 2 is a great ranking.
Yeah.
And 2 being the weakest of the trilogy doesn't mean it's bad.
No,
it's like Temple of Doom is not a bad movie. It's just not as good as the other two.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Return of the Jedi. It's not bad, but it's not as good as the other two.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, Back to the Future Part 2.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Something's got to be done about your kids.
Yeah. I do think, again, it's funny how it probably has more dominoes than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit weaker, but it's still definitely really cool.
Yeah.
And I also told you this too, but I find it funny how they only travel to the future once.
Yeah.
They just call it Back to the Future because they have to get back to their future or the present.
Yeah.
You know? But it's just, you know.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if you... we might have talked about it, but do you know that some executive wanted to change the name of Back to the Future?
What was it to?
So, like, they wanted to change it to Spaceman from Pluto.
What the hell does that have to do with traveling back in time?
Well, but that's the thing. You just thought that Back to the Future was too corny, too out there. No. And actually send out this memo, and Robert Zemeckis was like, Spielberg, my boy, homie, I don't know what to do. He actually Spielberg being Spielberg was like, wrote back saying, thank you for this joke memo. We all had a laugh back at the studio.
That's crazy.
And like, that was the end of it, and we got Back to the Future instead.
So was that after they made the title Back to the Future?
Yeah, so no, Back to the Future was, I believe, one of the, like, after they wrote the script, the script was basically in production hell pre-production hell for ever. For years. And it bounced around different studios.
Yeah.
And Universal just kept it.
Good thing they picked it up.
Yeah. And then Robert Zemeckis finally wanted to make it.
Right.
And yeah, they just didn't like that it was... Well, because originally, instead of a DeLorean, it was going to be a
refrigerator?
A refrigerator. And then they repurposed that idea. Yeah, it was... Because instead of a lightning strike, it was going to be a nuclear explosion. And they repurposed that for Indiana Jones 4.
So that was specifically
Yeah.
So every time they time traveled, they just had to set off a nuke.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They're like, all right, guys, guess we got to bomb a town.
Yeah. No.
That's insane. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least with Indiana Jones, it was a one-time thing. Imagine bombing a town every time you
And if you listen to how people bitch and moan about that movie...
Oh, that would have ruined it.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being like, whoa, time travel. Okay, but we have to bomb, like...
Yeah. Like the nuclear fallout after like the second time film
must have been insane.
Yeah.
Like right. Like good lord.
But yeah, that's yeah. Anyway, back to the Future Part 2. We never did get those flying cars, huh?
We never did.
Yeah.
I love how that. Oh my god. I love how that like. The flying cars inspired so many memes on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, and it's like, in 2015, we're going to have flying cars and all this. 2015, I have a hoverboard in my garage. Is it hover? No.
No, we call it the hoverboard, but that's just because we just didn't want the flame to die out.
We're not even so... They advocated for fashion and we're not wearing two ties like they wanted us to. I can't believe it.
Or self-lacing shoes.
Exactly.
Or self-drying jackets.
Right. You know, if I want to get those fucking Nike self-lacing shoes, I have to pay for a goddamn car.
Yeah, we looked it up. It's like $35,000. Yeah.
It's insane. Meanwhile, like the car that Mayor Goldie Wilson Jr. was selling was $39,000. It's like a $4,000 difference.
Yeah,
it's insane.
I guess that's just one of the perks of being mayor.
You can sell cars for as much as shoes.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but no, that the 2015 that Back to the Future wanted to express, and it's fun to think about when you have to dream of the future, and you put it in a movie, you run the risk of what you tell is not going to actually happen.
Oh, right.
But it stops being like, oh my gosh, man, you were wrong. We never got those things, which is fine. It's just it doesn't matter because this is just to see how far your imagination can stretch.
Right.
And it's honestly a little disappointing that we couldn't make the technology work with us on this one.
Right.
Yeah. It's like dust repellent paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
That is cool. I feel like they could do that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Every page, would it even be made out of trees anymore? I feel like that has to be like laminated without having to put your pages in. Just laminated paper, like immediately printed out.
Your paper is plastic.
It's plastic. It's just plastic.
Yeah.
It's malleable plastic. Oh god, paper cuts would be even worse.
Well, or would they happen at all? Would it be like you have your books are just plastic bags?
It's true. Would it be like? Depends. I guess it depends if the corners like still aren't like sharp enough or like I guess have enough rigidity to like kind of keep a current position when you run your finger through it.
Yeah.
Because
that'd be strange.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, movies set up an interesting tone for futures because they either like it's so interesting. Because the thing is, they either go completely ballistic, but most of the time they have it like set in a far off distant future. You know? Meanwhile, Back to the Future was like what, like 30 years in the future, like
30 years in the future.
Like like 30 years in the future around there.
Yeah.
So it's like flying cars by then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but yeah, to be fair, I don't know. It's weird because we have gone pretty far with technology.
Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have. Well, okay, there are a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that Back to the Future did get right. Like being able to like use your thumbprint to open doors.
I've never seen that, but I know we use thumbprints for plenty of things, like phones.
Yeah, well, I guess you're right. I guess I haven't actually seen that.
But I feel like that could be a pretty good use.
I mean, but you can fit like a little camera on a door. You can put in a keypad.
Right.
Lock.
Yeah.
You can have robots take your order.
Right, that's true. We like at Tom's.
Yeah. Or at the hospital.
I've never seen any robots at the hospital, but I'm sure it'll happen sometime soon.
Yeah, they haven't abolished the lawyers yet, but that's only a matter of time.
Oh yeah.
My one gripe with Back to the Future Part 2 is that it doesn't make sense. Based on the logic established by the other aspects of every single Back to the Future movie.
In this case, one movie.
Well, no, in all of them. Well, depending on
That's true. I guess when it came out.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, but the actual lore established by these by the movies, it makes absolutely no sense that Biff can steal the DeLorean, change the past, and then return to 2015.
Right. No, yeah, because he gave him the thing.
Yeah.
And returned to 2015 completely unchanged.
Mm-hmm. Unless.
Oh, okay. I think I've had a theory on that.
Okay.
Well, you go first.
Unless Biff has his heyday and it fails spectacularly anyway, and 2015 is just going to be whatever it was because, I don't know, maybe like 1987, Biff's stocks crash and then he becomes forgotten.
Right.
Or whatever.
That's tricky because, while I did think of something, it still doesn't make sense to some degree. I just thought, okay, listen, basically it was instantaneous, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, maybe he came back before Biff even used the almanac for the first time ever because he used it. His first big one was in 1957 or 56 or something.
Yeah.
However, that still doesn't make sense. It's the future. He would have used it by then.
Yeah, no, because it would be instantaneous.
So that means everything else would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's like, oh, maybe the effects haven't set in yet, that still wouldn't have made sense. No. Marty and Doc would have seen reality warp around them and literally change into the correct future with Biff. So yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about that.
And that's like. And maybe that's why Back to the Future Part 2 is not as good, is because like once you see that, you can't unsee it.
Right.
It's like, well,
damn.
Your movie's stupid now.
Right, so damn it.
Yeah.
You were so close.
But yeah, I mean, showing the sort of Biff's perspective in 1955 is really cool.
Yeah.
Like
older Biff?
Well, yeah, older Biff, but I mean younger Biff.
Yeah.
Because I mean. The movie doesn't mince words by saying that, like, Biff is just kind of a rotten person through and through, and he has that sort of rotten lineage with
Right.
with Bad Dog Tannen.
Yeah.
Um,
Not just like just his grandma, like, you know,
his grandma.
like,
there's a reason that Biff acts this way,
right.
and
well, it kind of sucks on his end.
No,
He
yeah,
can't even stop it, but
it sucks, and that's just who he is. It's sort of interesting to have more insight to the villain, but not necessarily be like Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos is, oh my gosh, you're evil because your planet was destroyed. Anakin Skywalker, oh, you're Darth Vader now because
you lost your wife.
you lost your wife.
And your kids, apparently, for all you know.
Yeah, you lost everything. You've got nothing. Biff is he's just a dick.
He's just a dick because he's a dick.
And like, what's really hard and very prevalent in Back to the Future Part 2, but definitely seen throughout all of the Back to the Future movies, is how Biff handles Lorraine, or in Back to the Future Part 3, Buford handling Clara.
Yeah.
And like, you like to think about the horrors, the true horror of sexual harassment.
Right.
And like, thinking about that alternate 1985, the stuff that Lorraine had to put up with.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because like, you know, it's very easy for the movie to play a lot of what happens for laughs, but it surprisingly takes a beat and like has these like dark moments.
No, it
dark
does,
and mature moments.
I think that may also be another reason why people didn't really like too much, because it got a little dark at the end.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, you know, like, you have poor Lorraine being forced into a breast expansion. You have George McFly being murdered.
Yeah, murdered.
Like, out of a bully.
Yeah.
Which, it makes sense. If you give a bully power, eventually he just turns into a tyrant.
Yep. Well, we know that.
You know that. I know that a little too well.
Yeah.
And then just plenty of other things, like Biff owning the police.
Yep.
It got a little too real for a sec.
Yeah.
Maybe it was still a little goofy with, like, you know, the way the city was in shambles and everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
But to some degree, it's still definitely on beat.
Well, and you know, I guess this is I don't know if you ever saw this, but Jimmy Kimmel, October 25th, 2015.
Is that when he? Yeah. No. So where they travel back into the.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that.
That was cool, but they have this moment where they're asking about Biff, like, where's Biff? And they have the stagehand, and he goes, no, not that Biff. The Biff that like has all the casinos and stuff, and you know he's mean and ugly, and he goes, and then Jimmy Kimmel's like, oh, that guy, no, he's running for president, and I'm like, well,
oh, yeah, okay, that was a neat little.
It was a funny joke, but then he won
and
twice.
Like, oh boy.
Yeah.
You said a little too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
How 2 definitely took like a more serious tone on that at the end, at least.
Yeah.
Or
even part 1 where
that like the whole scene.
Yeah, the scene in the car, like, oh my god.
Like that, holy shit, right? And you have like George coming in to help out.
Yeah.
Right, like even that wasn't played off for laughs.
No.
That's like you know, props to the filmmakers for that, for like really not making that scene a joke, especially like 1985.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where like I'm sure like topics like that were not handled as professionally as they should have been.
Yeah, and they're still not.
And they're still not, definitely not.
Yeah, but at least putting forth an effort to address that people suck.
Right.
Not necessarily for this like overly complicated reason, other than the fact that
they just suck.
They just suck.
Right, and they're just dicks.
And having your heroes put forth a little effort that goes a long way.
Right.
Like, yes, George McFly and Lorraine Baines were supposed to end it together. That's the whole point of the movie. Mm-hmm. But the fact that George has this whole arc of being, I don't want to get involved because what if I'm no good?
Right.
I just can't take that kind of rejection, to being like, now I'm going to fight, not because I want to win this girl over, but because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And that's a hero.
Yeah. That's like really shown it a lot through not only just through George, but like I think a lot through Lorraine as well. Like,
yeah.
You're like just the future McFly bloodline, like, you know, in the past.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have like the first one with Lorraine's family taking them in, well, taking Marty in.
Yeah.
The second one with, well, I mean, that's just because she's his mom, to be fair. She knew that it was him. Mm-hmm. But, you know, her taking him in. And then the last one, especially with Seamus, being like a really just kind person.
Yeah.
You know, giving Marty a crap ton of advice and just helping him out. Like if it wasn't for Seamus, he wouldn't have survived Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Like we never would have gotten that whole scene in the train. He would have died like he would have probably like just died out in the sun like as soon as he finished time traveling.
For sure.
So it's like, you know, it's great.
And honestly, I feel like that's why, as ironic as it sounds, Back to the Future is such a timeless series.
Yeah.
It's because you can identify with the characters, not because there are these grand archetypes that like you want to aspire to be, but they're just people.
Right.
Like we definitely went through a very big Back to the Future phase when we were 17.
Right.
Like that summer, like that's Marty's age.
Right.
And then going through high school, like that means something.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So
yeah.
Like you literally have the shoes. You went to Comic-Con.
Right.
We got to meet them.
Yeah.
Take a picture with them. And you were dressed like Marty for a reason.
Right.
That can't be denied.
You know, yeah, no, I completely agree that it's great that they're not some like you said, grand archetype kind of characters, they're just people.
They're just people.
You know, that's like great because like, you know, it's just shown through the moment. You have Marty wanting just to get back home.
Yeah.
Like to
see his girlfriend.
Right, to see 1 through 3. That's all he wants to do.
Yep.
Yeah, he's fine with time traveling. Like, you know, sometimes like he goes through the struggles of a normal person, like being like, oh yeah, like ooh, like gambling, like you know, I can like bet all my money on this and make fame, right? Not like he's not some sort of like morally righteous character who's like, no, this is gonna be wrong, like, you know, because I'm cheating people out of their money or whatever, you know, or anything like that. And then you have Doc completely changing as like a character in one go like becoming a complete like oh my god, in one going from a completely excited character wanting to just time travel because it's such a great impact on humanity.
Yep.
From like 2, really realizing the flaws.
Yep.
And then 3, kind of being like, well, like end of 2 being like, I never should have made this damn time machine. From like you know, middle to 3, like beginning to middle of 3 having that same personality. Then towards the end, kind of being like, you know what, maybe it wasn't that bad. I managed to fix everything, and I managed to find, like, you know, the love of my life, you know?
Yeah, the future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one.
Right.
And that's, honestly, such a great, not just a great quote, but a great motto to live by.
Right.
You know, because we're young. We're pretty young.
Yeah.
Right? We got our whole lives ahead of us. And, like, being given the tools in life and in movies to be like, you can do, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Right.
But you have a choice on whether or not your life is going to mean something. There are a lot of things that are going to happen outside of your control. There are going to be obstacles that you have to overcome. Yeah. But ultimately, you have the power to have a good life.
Yeah.
And you just got to work with the cards that you're dealt and just get back to the future, man.
Just get back to the future. Go home.
Yeah.
And don't forget your golden slippers.
Don't forget your golden slippers. And Doc also, in addition to what you just said, Doc having this realization that wait, hold on. No, you did say that. Never mind. Scratch that part. No, I was gonna say because Doc decides to time travel again.
Yeah.
But very, very carefully. What is crazy though, going back to the like
future.
Again. Yeah. Going back to Lorraine and Biff and George.
Yeah. That
whole situation and how that was like horrible. But yet Biff's like their mechanic or like washes their cars and stuff. Like that's kind of, I mean, you're right. On the one hand, you said that's quite the power move. Second,
that's still kind of fucked up.
Yeah, like you're like haunted.
Not for Biff.
Yeah,
for Lorraine.
No, she's probably haunted by that night. It's both easily the best and worst night of her life.
It's gotta be so like.
And like that's her entire life, reminded that like yes, everything worked out. I've got this lovely home, this lovely family, but also this piece of shit.
Like, right, like he's in my backyard. The guy who assaulted me
Yeah.
is literally in my front yard.
Yeah,
cleaning
around
car.
my children.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, hell, like you know, Mad Dog Tan and Biff was like, you know, he was like almost borderline assaulting Clara, like breathing down her ear and shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, we always reference the. I bet there's something you can worth that's $80.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
So like, what's stopping him from going from someone like younger than him?
Yeah.
You know, like no.
Well, there's nothing stopping him.
Right.
Like in. Obviously, we're going above and beyond because now we've just been exposed to the real world.
Right.
And these people are terrible, and Biff is terrible.
Right.
But there's no but. That's it.
just it. Right.
That's it. So don't be like Biff in any regard.
Or don't be like George in the sense that you hired the person who assaulted your wife.
That too.
That's not great.
Yeah. Don't assault people and don't hire people that assault other people.
Right. That's not great. Mr. Beast, you might want to take some lessons. Mr. Beast, if you're watching.
Yep. America actually as a whole, you might want to think about that. And then we get to Back to the Future Part 3. Part 3, the finale. Probably one of the most satisfying conclusions out there.
Oh yeah.
Also, the Old West is such a timeless,
such a nice place to end on.
Yeah, it's a great staple in movie history. You know, I guess our modern day equivalent to westerns are superhero movies, right?
Right, I guess so, yeah.
But everybody else grew up with westerns. Like our parents grew up with westerns.
Right.
We live in western.
We live in a western.
We have tumbleweeds.
In a modern western.
Yeah.
Whenever there's just a tumbleweed going by, just so it's literally just
Yeah.
So
No,
it's like
hot as balls, and we got tumbleweeds.
Yep. And we got outlaws like it's no other place here.
Yeah, you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, we're literally Earth's. You're right. We're literally Earth's version of Tatooine.
Yeah, honestly, yes.
Yeah, it's hot as hell. Like if we had that other sun, we'd cook.
Yeah,
we'd cook ourselves to death over here.
Yeah. But yeah, Back to the Future Part 3 is really cool. Wait, hold on. Let's talk about Back to the Future Part 2 because I think other people should know this. When Doc is transported into the Old West,
right? Yeah,
they have the 99.
The 99.
Actually, you want to explain that?
I mean, I didn't know this, but apparently the 99 doesn't even mean anything. We thought it was like, is it a year thing? Because before I really got into this franchise a good chunk, I was like, oh, is that when the third film released? But no, apparently it's just the tires spinning out of control or something, and I guess for some reason both of them just shaped out of 99.
Yeah.
At least it might look like it. It might you can't see me doing it, but from a perspective, I'm doing kind of like a swirly thing.
Yeah.
So
it's 99, but just flipped.
From flipped, right? And it might have just been like a swirl. Mm-hmm. But since we're watching it in 2D and we're not there in person seeing the smoke kind of fade away, it might have looked like a 9, but it could just be like a swirl that got loopy at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. But also no, it was a really great ending. It immediately set the third, just like the first one, obviously. Mm-hmm. With the male guy, I forgot his name. I don't think they give him a name.
Yeah, I don't think they
Marvin. No, Marvin is.
Wait, no, Marvin
Berry.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we should go. I remembered what I was gonna say earlier, but we should also go back to that. The first thing, another really cool lesson, and we'll talk about this more in Back to the Future Part 3.
Yeah.
But Marty learning the lesson that name calling isn't a justifiable reason to throw your life away.
Right. Exactly.
And how he has this whole arc of being called chicken, being called yellow, and then going, yeah, I don't care what these guys think of me.
He's an asshole.
He's an asshole.
Right. That's what people do. That's what assholes do. They name call you. Just because some idiot on the side of the freeway calls you a name. Yep. You're not just gonna slam your car into him full force.
Yeah. You can always be called something worse.
Right. Yeah. Oh boy.
All you gotta do is just not act like one.
Yeah. Just walk away. And I think what's nice too is that 3, going back to 3 for a second, 3 also kind of sets up that line of there's a difference between being called a name and like not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then actually having to do something because Marty, he just beats like Biff because after he gets shot, and he doesn't kill him, but he beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier. Is that you asked if I thought Marty would win in a duel against Biff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that in Back to the Future.
Yeah,
3. But for a second, let's go back to the first one, because of Johnny Be Good.
Johnny Be Good, because of Marvin Berry.
Because of Marvin Berry. This is an interesting time relic because it now no longer has a clear beginning or end.
Right. And I think I've said this, and I think I stick by it. But I think people just think too far into it.
Yeah.
I don't think Chuck Berry listened to the whole song. He probably just listened to a small piece of it because Marvin comes back at the end and he just grabs the guitar after McFly just went crazy on him. He's like, what the fuck, So he just listened to a small portion. So it maybe just the sound inspired him. He just made the whole song. He didn't listen to the whole song from beginning, I think, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
Right? So I doubt he copied him. I think he just listened to a portion. He really got inspired. Also, keep in mind, this is a phone from 1955.
Yeah.
Playing on a guitar. My fucking iPhone 15 can't pick up me playing guitar. What makes you think that he's going to hear everything 4K crisp quality on a phone, on a landline phone from the 1950s?
Also, I mean, he wrote the song anyway.
He wrote the song anyway.
Yeah.
And he didn't listen to the whole thing. It was going to happen anyway. He probably just heard it and got inspiration. He's like, oh, shit, nice. And he just made it.
What's interesting though is looking at it from a physics perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson. He did an episode about this very thing on Star Talk. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it.
I love his co-host.
Yeah, Chuck Nice.
Yeah, Chuck Nice. He's so funny.
I'd love to see those two play Minecraft together. Actually, little full transparency. It's because of them we have a podcast that we're doing. Yeah. We should talk about science stuff, but we're talking about movies. Anyway, but yeah, so...
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember what he said about it, but...
Johnny Be Good is a gin particle.
Right.
It basically...
It's like a cycle. He made it first, then he made it, and then it's just stuck in a loop.
It's just in a loop.
Right. Which is totally fair, but I still think it's too far.
Yeah.
Which, of course, from a physics standpoint, yeah, completely. But, I do think he just heard the sound. Like the general playing.
Yeah.
He probably didn't remember any notes, but he took inspiration from it and then just made the whole song. It's like you mentioned in Back to the Future Part 3, because we were talking about how Marty, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you're like, and then I'm like, well, then you're like, oh, do you think Clint Eastwood was still born? I'm like, oh, yeah, no, Chris was born.
Well, no, I mean, it's not necessarily was he still born,
or did he still do the things he did?
Yeah, but
right. And I responded with, oh, yeah, no. More than likely. Either way, I doubt that Hill Valley history is that prevalent around the world.
Yeah.
And there are some streets and places that are named after
Eastwood.
Yeah, just people.
Yeah.
Just because Benedict Cumberbatch has has his name and there's some place named Benedict Drive, it doesn't mean that it was
sure
something. But I can see why you'd ask that.
Yeah,
but that's what I think.
Yeah,
that's my response to the time.
Yeah. We were going to talk about Back to the Future Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
Love a good western.
It's a good western.
It's a good western. It's a good movie.
Great soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
As always.
Oh my gosh.
Al Silvestri did so good.
Yeah, that's probably he pulled out all the stops for that one.
Oh yeah. No, listen. I love the original. I still think it's the best one, but I love the variant of the third film.
Yeah. Or when he's walking around 1885 Hill Valley, you just hear it on the harmonica.
Oh. I was like, I didn't mention that, but I was thinking, this sounds nice on the harmonica. I love how they're translating into old western.
Yeah.
Music. I'm I love that.
And you talked about this when Doc has the letter that he gives to Marty, and how touching it is.
It's genuinely touching.
like you start tearing up at this guy who's like, hey, I got transported to the Old West. I love it here. Don't come after me. But you've been a real pal.
Right. This is your friend in time. Oh my God. I need to write a note with that someday.
Yeah, your friend. My friend in time.
My friend in time.
My friend in time.
No, but it's like, it's phenomenal. Even it's funny because even Doc in the movie was like, I wrote this.
Yeah.
He's like, this is touching. He's like, yeah, man. You know, Marty's just like catching, like, yeah, okay, whatever. We need to get back to this.
We need to get back to the We have
to the past and then the future.
We gotta go, man.
We gotta go. Quick side tangent. Can we talk about how every character's like, especially Marty, like the people who time travel, their perception of time is just fucking ruined.
Yeah.
Like Marty's like,
yeah,
I saw you. I didn't like. Oh my God! In the first movie, Jennifer, she's like, what do you mean, Marty? You're acting like you haven't seen it in a week. He's like, I haven't.
Yeah. Like the entirety of Back to the Future takes place within like a week and a half.
A week and a half.
A week and a half.
Like 2 weeks. 5 days.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
It's kind of crazy. So, now what do you do with that?
Right. Also, two things I noticed. One, like, can we talk about how Doc is so like, oh, you can't change the future. Mm-hmm. He changes the future, at least to be the best for him, and Doc doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
And secondly, there was something else I was going to say. There was also one thing that I find funny, is that one set up Back to the Future 2 as this major thing about his kids being fucked up.
Yep.
It's just one event. They literally fix it in like 30 minutes, and then the rest of the film is just dealing with Biff.
Yeah.
And I find that absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was huge.
And maybe that's why Back to the Future Part 2 isn't look back as well. Like, if it was trying to fix... Like, if it was a carbon copy, but, like, just his kids, that could have been interesting. Or what if it was, like, this convoluted heist movie where they were trying to do stuff?
I don't know. It's weird, because I do like how it turned out with, like, you know, rich Biff at the end, the corrupt Biff.
Yep.
But at the same time, I do feel like they literally set it all up for the kids. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's dealt easily within like the first 30-40 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
You know, the rest is just all that.
Yeah. Oh, overall, it pans out. It's still good.
It's still good. It sets up 3 nicely. Like, very, very well.
Yeah. And despite all of these flaws, at least the first one is a perfect movie.
I think it's great.
Flaws and all, it's a perfect movie.
Right.
And I love how Back to the Future Part 3 acknowledges everything that's come before it and takes its time to really hit home on its themes.
Yeah.
And being like, well, because, I mean, Eric Stoltz was like, Marty's a tragic character, and Michael J. Fox is anything but that.
Right.
He has the potential to be a tragic character, and that is a constant threat, and that's what sort of puts this filter over the series. But it's Marty learning and growing from all of the things going wrong, but also his partnership with Doc.
Right.
That really puts things into perspective.
Yeah. No, it does.
And yeah, really setting things in the Old West showcases how their dynamic and ability to work together, especially without the use of modern technology.
Exactly.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I do think that the third movie had the biggest stakes. Well, like, at least the biggest issues to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, like, in the third one, you had both, like, the threat of both of them vanishing.
Yep.
The first half being, you know, what's it called? Being Doc's whole thing of getting killed by Tannen over a matter of $80. Mm-hmm. And then the second half being Marty being, like, having his own existence threatened by Biff killing him in the duel. Yeah. And it's, like, a great way to end for both. Not just for a singular character. And even then, like, I don't feel like Doc had any real stakes in the first or second, because most of them were about Marty when it came to stakes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It was a nice change of pace, and yeah, their problems were higher.
For sure. And honestly, all of those problems are solved phenomenally.
Yeah. No.
And it all comes, as you said, comes to a it's wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow.
Yeah.
And thus you have Back to the Future, the greatest trilogy ever. Since Back to the Future's initial release, you've got video games. Not as many. Yeah, you've got musicals that were also pretty good. You've got animated shows. You've got toys. You've got Legos. Yeah. Last summer we spent a good chunk of time putting LEDs on the big Lego DeLorean.
Right. And before that, we had a good chunk of time actually building the set.
Yeah, we funnily enough, we did a whole Back to the Future
like marathon.
Yeah, wait, wasn't after that we filmed Master Procrastinator?
I think that,
yeah.
Maybe.
Like right after that, we were like, man, that took forever.
I know.
Let's make a movie.
We should like make a short movie. Like all I know, I think, is that I finished like the base of the car, and then you just finished the rest.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I was there for like a good solid chunk, but I know you finished the car up by yourself, which I don't blame you. You literally, dude, we spent like almost half a year on that. I think
it took multiple months.
Multiple meets over a span of months.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But I actually think it's kind of cool that especially now, Back to the Future has such an integral part of our filmmaking careers.
Right.
Because not only is it one of those films that like you're inspired by, like to tell a concise story throughout 3 different movies.
To have it all planned out.
And people reflect fondly on it.
Yeah.
And we used that made Lego stuff.
Yeah.
And then decided to make a movie of our own.
Exactly.
So I think that's pretty awesome.
On both ends.
Yeah.
Not even just for you, for me too. Like on both of us, yeah.
Like you've got more of a focus on graphic design.
Right.
Think of like all of the spectacle that Back to the Future has throughout. Mm-hmm. That you're probably subconsciously taking inspiration of and incorporating into your project.
No, exactly, yeah.
Or intentionally.
Yeah. No, I know I was planning on making Back to the Future poster at some point. I didn't get through with it because I was like, I gotta get this done and like make some other thing, but it still popped up. It was still there.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do it. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was especially from the time when we went to the Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sidestepping just a little bit, another thing that Back to the Future's impact is the Universal ride.
Right.
Like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there was a ride. Yeah.
Before the
Simpsons.
The Simpsons. And unfortunately, it closed before we were able to ride it.
Yeah.
But what if I told you that there was a way to capture the magic?
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit.
That being YouTube, probably.
Well, no, I was going to say that actually I got this specific box set because it has the ride in the special features.
Oh, sweet.
So I know we have to wrap this up soon, but if we had just a little bit of time, did you want to take a look at the Back to the Future ride?
Oh, yeah, how long? It's not that one. Probably 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably. Like, as long as...
Okay.
With it's basically the Simpsons ride.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No, do they have the exact same motions?
Well, no, we have to... Well, oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
like the...
I thought you meant right now. I was like, I could shake you a little bit, but...
Just go to the Simpsons ride, put on your headphones, and put on a VR headset and just watch the Back to the Future ride.
Yeah. But yeah, it's actually this disc, so if you want to go ahead and do that.
Let me go to the menu real quick.
Even though we're going to watch Back to the Future the ride, what a ride this movie marathon has been.
Right.
And I appreciate you going on this journey with me multiple times.
Through different times. Yeah, no, it's been one hell of an experience. It's always fun watching these films. Yeah. I can't say I ever regret watching them again and again. It's fun.
They get better every time you watch them.
They do, yeah. Especially the first one.
Yeah, the first one
just ages
like fine wines. Oh. All right, so this is a future us trippy time travel stuff happened.
Right.
We forgot to talk about a particular part in Back to the Future Part 3, where it's the very ending scene and Doc is showcasing his new family. If you look very closely at one of the children,
I think it's Vern.
It's Vern. Yeah, it's Vern. If you look closely at him, you can see that he's like motioning like to somebody off screen to like come closer, and then he points at his crotch area.
Right. It's
so
like right after he gives the picture to Marty too.
Yeah, he's like, it's the future hasn't been written yet. No one has. He's actually gesturing to the filmmakers that he needs to go to the bathroom.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. And it makes it better the fact that he even just directly looks at the camera.
Yeah.
They were just done. They were like, all right, we're done. I'm tired of today's filming. Let's go home. And this kid like had probably done like 5 takes or something at this point. He's like, I want to go pee now.
Yeah. No, he's like the first time I saw that, I was like, hey, yo, what's this kid doing?
I didn't even notice that. And then you just pointed it out. I'm like, why is he waving at the camera? Then he's like, he pointed at his crotch. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. No, it's funny.
So that's hilarious. I never knew that.
And also, since we got it on the line, what did you think of Back to the Future: The Ride?
It was interesting. I feel like it was a bit short, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to say it was a bit underwhelming for how long we were waiting.
That's true. We watched all of the lobby footage before we watched the ride.
I know.
So that was
the Biff stuff was funny. I will admit. Hasta la bye bye.
Hasta la bye bye.
Hasta la bye bye.
Have a nice trip. See you next winter.
It's fall, you idiot. I love how he always just messes everything up.
Yeah. Quiet as a rat.
I know. That was something Doc said, but wait, no, sorry, that was something he said because I was thinking I'm stuck in my own lab like a rat.
Jumping gigawatts.
I've never heard him say that. That was hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was
it was an okay ride.
It was alright.
I find it funny that what's it called again? That we literally got submersed in fucking lava, and somehow the DeLorean didn't start malfunctioning.
Yeah, no.
That was the one part. I'm like, it doesn't look bright enough for lava, but you know what? We're in the prehistoric age. Was that like 888? What the hell was that?
No, it was 0000.
Oh, 00. Okay, because I know we went to the Ice Age and then we time traveled again, but somehow we went to the, to the prehistoric age.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's all prehistoric because it's all 0. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. It might just be like it's in the. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, it was funny. It was fun.
Would you rather that Back to the Future: The Ride still be there as opposed to The Simpsons?
Oh, that's tricky because I don't know. I feel like if I'm being honest, like maybe it's just because I've been on The Simpsons ride a lot more. Yeah. I actually haven't experienced this one physically.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Simpsons one just feels nice. I like the story of it.
Sure.
This one, like, I feel like it's just a bit weird in the sense that Doc kind of published all of his like things about time, like it's available to the public now
after saying how horrible it is,
right? And literally going back to seeing Thomas Edison in the past, Einstein, Nixon being like the way even like the commentator was like, oh, he looks like he wants to alter time now, but he has to hold back, and that was funny. I can't lie to you.
Yeah,
the Doc mark was pretty funny to see, but I feel like it kind of, I don't know, because, obviously he still does it carefully. He still time travels, but just carefully. But, that kind of felt not careful.
Yeah.
Literally going back, like, imagine telling the person who created the light bulb, oh, yeah, by the way, I made time travel.
Yeah.
The light bulb is now, it's still a pivotal moment in human history, but, like, we made a shit ton more than that.
Yeah.
Of course, it's expected, but imagine having somebody tell you that, like, at face value. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's tricky, but I think, fun.
The Simpsons ride probably makes more sense.
Right. I like the way they set it up better as a carny kind of thing. But, I think the story is a bit better than in this one.
Yeah.
But it's still not bad. Maybe it's some, like, sort of alternate timeline or something. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think it was fun. I kind of wish I was able to experience it, in person. In person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little clunky. But I guess that's just Back to the Future time travel and.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, to be fair, I'm sure Simpsons came out a little later. This was like what 19. Literally, I think the date that was set in the before you even time traveled is 1990.
Yeah, 1991, I think.
Right, something like that. So a while after the movies came out, and I'm sure Universal was just looking to fill in a slot, probably.
Yeah.
It's nice to actually see Emmett Brown. It's actually nice to see Christopher Lloyd actually reprising his role. It's funny though because Marty just no mention, no views at all. There's like a scene where they reuse some of his footage. I think where he's recording, or something. But he's with him. He's with Doc. Yeah. This is like pre time travel, when only I need time travel. Yeah. And it's hilarious because like you barely see Marty in the frame and he's all blotched out and like black and just this way. It's funny.
And you see like his shoe, right? He's like pressing on the gas pedal. Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
All right. Well, then that concludes the future portion of this Back to the Future podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess we'll see you. We'll see you in the future.
Yeah, and back to past us, I guess, depending on how Will Grayson edits this. We'll see.
Yeah. It's let's just say it's time to get back in time.
Back in time.
Because that's the power of editing. Well, my friend in time.
Yep.
It's time to wrap it up, so I can go back to my house.
Back to your house. And where we're going, unfortunately, we do need roads. So,
yeah. Any final comments?
Final comments? Well, what Doc said, your future is whatever you make it out to be, so make it a good one.
Yeah. That's well said. Yeah. I've been Grayson, aka Galaxy Productions, joined with
Chaotic Spirit, also known as Hasiel Carrillo.
Yeah, and we wish you a Merry Christmas
and a Happy New Year.
Happy 40th anniversary of Back to the Future, everybody. I bid thee good day
and stay toasty.
Stay toasty.
Not with this weather.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Yeah.